Well, this is the season finale. Stacking Pennies, guys. Championship edition. Joey Logano from the outhouse to the penthouse. Pull the tape. We told him you couldn't give him and Paul Wolf in that 22 group life, and they done got their third. Also, congrats to Justin Allgaier, Ty Majeski on their championships. We have a lot to talk about this week. Let's go ahead and get right into it. This is Stacking Pennies.
Stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
It tastes like gasoline, rubber, and victory.
We're just out here stacking pennies.
Hey, friends. Quarter of the Joy here, alongside championship runner-up front tire changer for Ryan Blaney's Ford Mustang, Ryan Flores.
Ooh, what a bittersweet feeling.
Is it more bitter or is it more sweet?
I don't know. I don't know. That's just a saying. I don't know that it's either of those, honestly. I think it's like when you are sitting there and you lose, it's like you just feel like a sprinter that just got across the line and you're just like, me and Trevor just sat there for like 5 minutes.
Did you cry?
No. You just like breathe because I was telling somebody like after Martinsville, and we'll get into this later, but you're just like so anxious. You're like, your emotions are all over the place. And then you have to be ready to pit that thing at any minute. So you're watching the race. You're invested just like people at home are. You're half-assed freaking out inside. You want them to catch them. You're very emotional. And then, if the caution comes out, you better be ready to perform your best pit stop of the year. So when it's done, those emotions just leave and flood out.
Well, there's so much to talk about today. We'll get into more of you in that 12 teams championship conquest. But first, I think everybody was a bit heavy in the industry on Saturday. About the news about Bobby Allison passing away. Our thoughts and prayers to the Allison family.
A racer's racer, dude.
Dude, the original BA. Badass Bobby Allison.
Badass, but I think about all the stuff he's been through in his life. Both of his boys
giving their life to the sport, more or less, yeah.
And just, just an ambassador for the sport that he was, Alabama gang, what they mean. And, dude, all the racing he did, right? He's like a Kyle Larson type, you know?
Dude.
He just raced everything, and, man.
85 Cup wins, 718 career Cup starts, the 1983 Cup Series champion, and, of course, he's got a blue jacket, NASCAR Hall of Famer. So, yeah, the sport lost a great one.
Yes.
So that was, I think everybody was a bit heavy. I think anytime people see BA at the racetrack is always a beam of light. So it's a good time to honor and remember him and his impact he had for the guys like him. Laid the foundation for guys like us to just continue to build the sport. And those guys were doing it legit, not because they were making hardly any money. They were legitimately risking their life every weekend just because they liked driving in a circle faster than the next guy. And that is the epitome of a badass, and Bobby Allison was certainly one. So let's shift gears from that. Going into Phoenix this past week with 3 championships, 4 if you count the ARC race, on the line. A little bit of extra practice, long weekend, flying out there on Thursdays for practice on Friday. You were a spectator from the house on Friday.
Watching. I was at the dirt track at Charlotte with my kids in the Joy seating tent. So we went out to the World Finals, had a blast out there. We were out there a couple days this week.
Levi freaking loves it, dude. He just sit there. Kelly would send me videos, him just sitting with some popcorn, just watching cars go around in circles.
Yeah. At one point, him and crew were sitting there with glasses on. Like they looked like they could have been 40 years old, sitting there with clear glasses, headphones on, just watching them go around. And they were, your dad has the golf carts out there and that electric bike. We were riding around. We were all muddy. Our kids were filthy dirty. And yeah, it was awesome. You could see a lot of people out there, but man, is it dirty. So anyway, get home from that just in time to catch the end of the truck race. And, shout out to Ty Majeski. I feel like he's one of the good guys. Joe Shear Jr. They're short track racers. Ty Majeski's put in the work at the lower levels in the super late models
and smoked them
and did a great job. He got that opportunity because of what happened last week. He was the last guy in.
Think about this, guys. If Christian Eckes just runs second behind Taylor Gray, then Ty Majeski's not even in the championship 4.
That's it. But that doesn't matter, right? There's a lot of if-so, fact-sos. You have to, and we'll get into it. And I was very disheartened to listen to a lot of our very well-respected media members this week that just want to hammer NASCAR and hammer the playoff system. And we are in this brutal realm of everybody wants to fix the sport when they don't like who wins. You don't like the narrative?
Hang on.
I
got one better than that. Everybody wants to fix it, but they don't have a solution.
It's not their job to fix it.
If you're going to about it, at least present something that might be better. Don't just say, "Oh, this is stupid. It's dumb. Sucks. It stinks."
Yeah. Well,
without any sort of a idea of what to make it better.
And I think Joey Logano and we can. The truck race was just a stomping. It seemed like by Majeski, just kicked their butts. And it's hard. That's hard to do. Xfinity race was a little bit more interesting. The thing with the Xfinity series, and I said it. When we were talking in the truck, I don't know who I had a conversation with on Sunday, but you can make mistakes like Justin Allgaier made on Xfinity Day.
I think you and I were talking about
and get away with it. Yes. You cannot make those mistakes on Sunday and get away with it because the amount of cars on the lead lap and Xfinity, like when Justin Allgaier got out of line before the line.
Well, hang on. Let's back up to even his third lap on the racetrack when the 44 chunks of oil line, and it wipes out about 7 of them in one corner. 3 of them. 2 of them being championship contenders, if you count the 20, because he was in the owner's points.
Oh, wow.
Huge wreck.
That's a huge
Justin
setback.
gets out, rightfully so pissed off, smashes his hand up against the pit box. Jim Pullman gives him a big old bear hug, said, "Don't worry, big guy, we're going to get this thing out in."
Pullman seems like a stud.
He is a stud.
I saw something from Dale Jr., where Dale Jr. texted Pullman and was like, "Hey, how's our car?" Backup car's a great car. It's our Vegas car. We got it built. That's hard to do because that's a lot of preparation, man. That week of Phoenix is a short week. Your cars have to leave on Tuesday.
Wednesday morning.
Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. And you have to, like I was in the shop 8:30, 9 o'clock checking droops on Tuesday.
PM.
Just pulling the rope, right? Everybody's buttholes and elbows, they call it, right? So to have 2 cars prepared where they even got back out on track for practice is huge.
Yep. So he starts last, and my man was running 11th by the end of the first stage.
He lost track position somehow here. Oh, they got a left rear flat. They got a left rear flat.
Man, we talked about this at length in the drivers only meeting, or in the NASCAR drivers meeting on Saturday morning. Don't put NASCAR in a position where they have to make a call. Don't make it look egregious. That's more or less what they're asking. They don't want to be in the middle of penalizing Corey Haim on Friday night and then Justin Allgaier on Saturday night. They don't want to
affect. Rules are rules, dude.
You can't do that. You have to stay in line until you get to the start-finish line. That's the rule.
Blaney was in the truck, and him and Timmy Fito were talking about it Sunday morning, and Blaney said, Tim, those are both penalties. He said, they're both penalties. And I asked him, I said, is it super inviting to want to go down there? And he's like, oh, my God, yeah, because there's so much room that you're like, I want to go there. He's like, but you have to stay disciplined and not do that. And, Justin, before this, he's been here plenty of times. He hasn't won. His emotions are through the roof. And he gets a left rear flat because he's racing with
Riley Herbst. Who has nothing to lose.
So he has to pit, and he's in the back. So now he's frustrated. Now he's ready to just carve back through the field, and he started about 15 feet too early.
Yep.
So then he comes down, then he speeds.
Serves his penalty, then he speeds on the penalty.
Is it easy to speed there?
I sped on Sunday.
Is it because of the turn?
It's the turn. If you're maximizing your lights and you're about 3 feet, give or take, too low of where your lights are set, then that shortens the distance, and it's going to make you show too fast.
So these are it's pretty simple solution. You don't maximize your lights.
Right.
Because you give up the tenths of a second.
Right.
If you have to pit again, you give up laps. So these mistakes on Sunday, you don't come back from.
No.
You're done.
You shouldn't.
Thanks for coming.
You shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, but there's only 12 or 15 cars on the lead lap in Xfinity.
In the playoffs, and we'll get to this later, in the playoffs, you shouldn't be able to make those mistakes in a round of 8 and feel like you're going to be racing for a championship.
Absolutely
we saw the
not.
5 car.
Absolutely
made several mistakes.
20 car at Martinsville.
20 car at Martinsville.
Right? That's what this produces. Now, the people, shout out Jeff Gluck. I respect Jeff Gluck highly. Super disappointed listening to the teardown this week.
Yep.
And super disappointed reading The Athletic because it just misses the point. And I think a little bit of it is that they're not competitors, right? And they don't understand fully what all goes into it. These race cars don't just show up at the racetrack. Done, right? There is the pit crews just don't show up and do good stops or bad stops. The drivers just don't show up and go fast or not. There is so much work and so much emphasis. And what they did is they just dismissed all of that yesterday.
Yep.
And I don't expect them to understand that because they've never had to do it. But they're painting the picture and they're painting the sport in a bad light. Like Joey Logano just duped the system. He didn't, right? You have to look back.
You play the game in which the rules are displayed.
Joey said that. They said, well, and I see these ticky-tack Instagram people. Oh, in the Winston Cup series, and if you were running off of Cars Tours points, you would have finished 5th. And I see like little smart asses like Carson Hocevar that are sitting there tweeting like, oh, I was right there, the same average finish as Joey Logano. Well, try winning a race, little guy. You know, like, you're not the same. Yeah. It's not the same.
It doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter what your average finish is.
Yeah.
Right? It matters if you win in big moments, right? Nobody we sat in downtown Charlotte when the Panthers went undefeated and got absolutely stomped in the Super Bowl.
Right.
We didn't that they had a better record.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Should they have started up 10 points in the Super Bowl just because they had a better regular season record?
And you know, Jeff said, and I'm sorry, Jeff, and I like you as a person, but we have a big difference in opinion here.
So people want to fantasize about races of old and things of old, right? I made some notes.
Okay.
Like my notes?
Let's hear it. Yeah, they look great.
So we talk about people, you know, I see it too. Oh, when the Winston Cup Series points, we're fantasizing about a point system from 21 years ago. It's not like it was 3 years ago in which all of a sudden I went back and did 4 years. Kenseth wrapped it up a race early. The plus 90, which was like 3/4 of a race. The next two guys were over two races behind. Tony Stewart the year before, 02, was up 38 points. The next guy was an entire race behind. 01, Jeff Gordon was 2.5 races ahead. Locked it up 2.5 races early. And then another race to the third guy. 2000, Bobby Labonte. 265 points. Over a race and a half, locked it up. That's just numbers.
Let me take it a little bit deeper.
How exciting is that to go watch the last race of the year when there's only not even one guy in contention to win the championship?
So, and that's where I was getting at too with Jeff is Jeff was like, well, yes, don't talk to me about football, like baseball, right?
We're not talking about
since 2001, right? The wild card in MLB has won the World Series 9 times, right? You give people fresh life at the end of the year.
Yep.
In the playoff system, you use your regular season to seed a playoff system where winning is the most important thing. You know why winning is the most important thing? Because if you don't, if it's just points, you can go there and run second. You can run third. You can do what Chris Bell did.
Yeah.
Just have a solid day at Vegas. It's okay if the 22 wins. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. No.
Yeah.
Chris Bell loses. Big Ball Paul stays out. They win the race. Chris Bell crosses the start-finish line, screaming mad because he knows
the implications.
He knows the implications. Then they go to Martinsville and have a terrible day, and you don't move on. It's like any other. It's so much harder than what we're giving it credit for because we are dismissing the fact of what, Joey Logano down and out, right, and doesn't have a ton of speed on
year.
No, hey, 4 race wins and an all-star race.
Right.
No big deal.
Right.
And then they scratch and claw, find a way. They find a way, and they go to Phoenix, and they win the race, dude.
Yeah, they win the race.
So
they beat every single car on the racetrack.
It's like, and here's another storyline, and we'll get to it later. Their jackman, who's been practicing for this moment all year, falls out after has to, leave the race after the second pit stop, and the 2 cars jackman steps in and executes a day and goes on. We don't talk about any of that. We don't talk about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? That guy's Pat Gray's a hero. We don't talk about any of that. We go right to, Joey Logano won. This system sucks. Like, are we worried about the and I heard all last week about just how the system sucks, and how I didn't hear anything about the integrity of Hendrick. I didn't hear anything about the integrity of Toyota and Chevrolet, and how that hurts the sport. And I brought it up to Bob Pockers this week,
NASCAR's fault.
and you know what Bob told me? That it's about money. Well, at what point does integrity become more important than money?
It
right?
doesn't.
Because I don't think. I mean, when everybody goes and gets on their private planes and does all that stuff, they want to about money.
Oh yeah.
But we don't. We're worried. We're not holding the most important thing. Money comes and goes, but your integrity's forever, right? And when I listened to other shows last week, I did not hear one thing about an integrity problem.
Yeah.
I saw it all come back on NASCAR, and I get we're on NASCAR's platform, but like, and we'll talk about it. Like when NASCAR does dumb stuff, like drives a pace car into the barrels at the end of pit road.
They don't help themselves.
We're going to talk about it, right? And I get that it's easy to pile it on, but I see a lot of drivers and a lot of teams fall short daily, but all want to point back at NASCAR.
Oh yeah.
And when I see, I guess my question is, like, I have a small business with 5 employees, and if there's a culture problem, I got to address the culture problem. Now, we have to understand that usually when there's a culture problem, it's a little bit on everybody. So the leadership in NASCAR has to address it. The media has to address it. The teams have to address it. I get there's lawsuits and everybody's mad and no one thinks they're getting paid enough. But we have such a good product, and the racing is so good, and it's so hard, and it's so fierce, and we are just zoned in on the wrong thing.
Yep.
And consistently we're zoned in on the wrong thing. We don't broaden our horizons at all, and we miss all these great storylines because we want to be pissed off about irrelevant stuff.
I feel like that deserves some background music behind that rant. That was beautiful. Really, it was good because a couple thoughts. Whew, buddy, you all right? That was serious
just
stuff.
Like frustrated about it. And I get I'm a Penske guy, right? But like it goes well beyond that.
I'm with you. I'm going to have your back in this because NASCAR serves not 2 masters. They serve all the masters. They serve the OEMs because the OEMs are such a big part of the sport. They serve the TV broadcast partners. They serve the financial partners. They serve the teams. They serve the drivers. They serve the fans. And they have to ultimately cater to the fans of what the product they're selling. Then if there's 4 million people that watch the race on Sunday night, 4 million opinions on if that was a good race or not. 4 million eyeballs and opinions thinking what considers a good race. There's, at the end of the day, there's a competition knob and there's an entertainment knob. And not all the time that those get turned the same direction. You have to turn it down, you have to turn it up. But the playoff system creates the good product. It creates the disparity. It creates the intention and the aggression over restarts. Whether you might not believe it or you know that spot in that time racing this guy, you race that guy different. And this fantasized idea of you think that just a consistent season is going to create this better racing or more people are going to tune in to watch this thrilling battle. Can Christopher Bell wrap the championship with 3 races to go? Who gives a because the playoff system for 10 weeks gives you so many storylines that you can talk about, so many different opportunities for guys to advance or not. So guys to overcome bad regular seasons and get hot during the playoffs or have a great playoffs, i.e. the 45, and have the freaking wheels fall off the last couple weeks, right? Like
that's it.
They lost momentum. You don't have those storylines. You don't have those focus throughout the broadcast if you're watching one guy ride around and content to run 7th place and win the championship. So I am tired of hearing about it. Now, is this system and the point system completely dialed in? No. Like, I'm not going to say that, but
it's fine. I think it is. And it doesn't matter if it's dialed in or not. Everybody knows the rules going into it.
Yep.
I don't know what you could do better.
I think the playoff you could argue that it wasn't fair prior to playoff points and those seeding you every round. You get what you earned during the regular season and the first couple races of the playoffs, you carry with you with the reset. So if you're a 1 or 2 or 3 seed, you stay a 1 or 2 or 3 seed all the way up until the round of 8 until you get the chance to win and make the playoffs.
I think you said it there. What you earned, you have to earn it.
Yeah.
And yes, you earn stuff throughout the regular season, but it keeps going away, and you have to continue to keep earning it throughout the 10 weeks of the playoffs. And yes, if you win, then you get maybe a couple weeks buffer to move on. But everybody that made it into that championship round earned it some way, somehow. Now, the 24, we can debate that. We can debate what happened at Martinsville. But that doesn't come back on NASCAR. That comes back on the teams and the OEMs.
That's right.
Right? That comes back, like we said, on integrity. But Joey Logano and this team earned it. They found a way to do it. I get that I'm part of it. But putting that aside, it needs to be celebrated when somebody can go out and win their 3rd championship because they want to say, I even heard people being like, well, they got in with fuel mileage at Nashville. Do you understand? But they don't talk about how Joey Logano's been racing cup cars longer than he's been doing anything else in his life, right? He's been racing cup cars for almost 20 years, and he can save fuel. And
part of being a race car driver is maximizing the variables of the day.
That's
and
it.
If that's saving fuel more than everybody else, and you got to get the checkered, you outsmarted and outsaved everybody else that was doing the same thing that you were trying to do.
Part of this. It's a team sport, right? People want to talk about how they out fuel mileaged everybody at Vegas. It's a team sport. It's not just Joey Logano. It's Paul Wolf. It's Shaggy the engineer. It's the team. It's everybody back at the shop making the cars. Like, we just dismiss that because the media doesn't really see all of that. But we've also seen, like, and we've seen how much the world can be influenced by the media. And I would say that I am all in for fixing a problem when there is one. I'm not all in for creating a problem because we don't like the outcome.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody, and Joey Logano said it well, everybody knew what the rules were when they started this year. Don't talk to me about average finish because it does not matter.
Doesn't matter.
Right? Like, don't talk to me about average pit crew time because it doesn't matter. Don't talk to me about top 5s and top 10s. We all know it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Right? You go for broke to win a race, and it doesn't work out because you're going for the 5 extra points for the playoffs.
Yep.
Well, if you run out of fuel and you finish 30th,
that's the
it
risk.
hurts your average finish. So that isn't – when you look at something so broad – it doesn't paint the full picture. And we're just using broad headlines to bash something when it doesn't really tell the story. And it's just so frustrating because as a competitor, like, you know that you're in it every week. You understand how hard it is. And you understand what it takes to win at this level. And it gets undermined by irrelevant conversation. And it's frustrating.
That's what it is. It's a relevant conversation.
Yes.
Because
instead of celebrate, like, we should be celebrating what Joey Logano did.
Yep.
I don't care how he did it.
And also continues to prove why he is sliced bread. The next best thing since sliced bread. There are people that have come and done it and talk about timing and scenarios, though, right? Joey Logano at Gibbs wasn't good enough. Deuces. See you later. We don't want you. Now he's in the same conversation, same breath of NASCAR titles of Cale Yarborough, David Pearson. I mean, what's there, 10 guys that have 3 or more championships? Like
Tony Stewart.
Right,
the guy he replaced. Silver spoons.
Yep.
I think it's so important that you talk. I brought that up to our guys. Switching gears to our team, right? Timing. The times that you get a great crew chief and a great team, but the driver doesn't really have it together. Or you have a great pit crew and a great driver, but the calls, to get it all to be great. The pit crew, the road crew, the driver, everybody's hitting at the right time. It's so small to get that timing right. Just in general, to have no weak links, right? You rarely see it. And, I feel like we're there, which is why it was tough to lose this week. Because, when you have it all,
you got to get it.
To lose, it's like, damn, we had it. And I think Joey has that.
It's probably got to be a little bit worse. This is me 20 spots behind you guys watching the race, but it's got to be more curious to hear Blaney's input on it. It's got to be harder to run 7 feet behind the guy that you just lost to, and it's your teammate. and it's the same out of the same house, then it is running like 7th. If you're 7th, like, oh man, we should have it today. If you're right there with the faster car and you catch them with 10 to go and you weren't able to get it, it's got to freaking suck.
I think the worst feeling ever is what it looked like when those guys were loading the 45 up on the hauler and they didn't have a chance all day.
Yeah, true.
Right, to have
That's
that
fair.
and get there and feel like you brought a knife to a gunfight. I'd rather lose by inches than finish 7th any day, because, and we stayed out there. The 12 and the 22, we were all at a party together. Like, we have a uniquely good culture where we like genuinely. And now, don't get me wrong, I talked a lot to a lot of my teammates, but like I genuinely pull for them, and like I am genuinely happy for like their front tire changer Joe Dilly, who I feel like I've mentored, and their whole pit crew and their whole road crew. Like, we really do pull the rope.
You talk about integrity previously, right? And the integrity and culture, I think, go hand in hand, and that stems down from the top.
It does.
And the captain's been, what's he, 90 years old, 91 years old now? It's just spry. Has won every single next-gen championship. Obviously, the setup and the grass that Team Penske has at Phoenix just is right in their wheelhouse. I mean, the 22 and the 12 has finished 1-2 out of the 3 years, correct?
We didn't make the Final Four.
But I'm saying, like, on the
racetrack. I don't know. Did the 12 finish second? Did the 22 finish second? We didn't win last year. We finished second.
Okay.
But we finished second the last 3 races in the fall at Phoenix. But it's, like you said, and they found we've found different ways to do it. It hasn't all come the same way. And for Joey to have a restart like he did, and everybody talks about, man, you don't let Joey Logano get hot.
You can't.
It's not something that's just that you just say on Inside the Playoffs because it's cool to say. It's real life.
Yeah, dude.
You don't give them life, right? You don't just say that because it's the.
He had the freaking 4 eyes of the tiger this weekend, bro.
Dude, the guy was.
He was like, I saw him, like, ooh, he's got that look in his eyes.
Yeah, but you know what? Everybody goes. You give Tom Brady, a
playoff
down by 6. With a minute and a half to go in the Super Bowl, and everybody's glued to it. You give Joey Logano that same scenario, and everybody's pissed off at it.
Right.
But that's exactly the same thing that it was, right? And you're playing against the best defense, and Ryan Blaney is coming, right? And you find a way to beat him. And, man, I celebrate it. From where I sit, knowing how hard it is, 20 years in the sport, understanding it from a competitor's level, I appreciate it. I hope that the fans, we can construe it in a way that they can appreciate it too. He's one of my better friends, right? Joe Logano is one of my best friends. That team's great. I work there. All that aside, you gotta respect what they were able to do.
Where does this put Joey on the list of all-time greatest drivers?
I mean, I don't know. It puts Joey as a guy that I want to be around if I'm working in the sport, right? I want to be on that team.
If you took away all of Kyle Busch's Xfinity and truck wins and just looked at his case study on Sundays, I'm putting Joey Logano ahead of Kyle Busch on the list. Now, I think
it's tough arguments because it doesn't.
That's why we're having it. That's what the show's about. Get people's opinion going.
Yeah, I don't.
I think Joey's like 7th or 8th on the list.
Man, I think he's one of the for this time. He's one of the greatest, and he makes it better, right? Does he have Kyle Larson speed? No, but does he have better racecraft than everybody? Probably the best racecraft in the sport.
Yeah.
Is he good leadership? Is he good with his people?
Partners.
One of the best in the sport. Do competitors like him? No. Good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's nobody more competitive I've met in my entire life than that son of.
You don't even want to play ping pong against that.
No, you don't. You don't, dude. And when he is solely focused on one objective, that's why you can't give him life, dude. Pull the tape. What was it 3 weeks ago? One man's trash is another man's treasure.
And a guy you don't want to give something free to is Joey Logano, because that boy is dangerous at these next 3 racetracks.
He is. You can't give those guys a free shot at it. You can't give them life.
Yeah.
Because if Paul can't will it through, then Joey was going to will it through.
Yeah.
Any situation that they have a sniff of it, like a freaking great white to a baby seal, bud.
Yeah.
Joe Logano got it done.
One guy who has no more NASCAR life left is Martin Truex Jr.
He'll be at the Daytona 500.
He'll be at Daytona 500. I'm sure he'll do a couple more. It was so funny. After the race, I'm standing on pit road wrapping my hose, and Ryan Truex and his wife Leah walk up. And I'm like, oh, did you come for your brother's last race? He goes, yeah. He got out of the car and just walked away, just left. I'm
Just like he's done
what
for
did you
every
expect?
single race before that.
Yeah, what'd you
What's
expect?
he gonna
Like, he
hang
just
out?
got out and went to the plane. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't hang out and drink a beer like Dale Jr.
No.
like we did when Brad was leaving. He just, yep, see ya. Heading back. Got a boat's heading out in the morning to go fishing for stripers.
Yeah. I was sitting next to Ricky Stenhouse in the driver's meeting, and Martin was right in front of us.
Awkward.
And they showed that video, and you know everybody gives them a standing O, and I like hit Ricky. I was like, "Where's my video at? Why don't they give me a video?"
Well, what was weird. This is so awkward. Imagine being Noah and Martin doesn't do anything. Like, at least stand up and wave. He just
Yeah.
sits there and like.
I thought he was
flips his
crying, but he
bottle.
wasn't. He just like, "Yo, all right, let's freaking start
Okay.
this thing."
Look at Noah. Dude, imagine being Noah right there. You just have to sit there and clap over top of somebody. I thought that it was like so awkward to me. Like, he started clapping with his bottle. Like, all right, y'all sit
All
there.
right, let's freaking go. Got to do.
But dude, how about Martin Truex Jr. going out with 2 poles on the pole for his last 2 races?
Yeah.
He obviously can still do it, but he's done, and he's earned it. He's going back.
Shout out to Greg Stump, Off Axis Paint. That's a sick helmet. I'm sure Noel painted that, right?
Him or Greg. Greg.
That
does
is a
great job.
sick helmet.
Greg won all 3 NASCAR championships. All 3 guys that won this weekend were in off-axis helmets. So shout out to Greg. Yeah, Martin, dude, you spend one summer on the Jersey Shore and you just want to move back. I'm telling you, it's nice up there. So good for him. Great career.
Talk about timing there, right? Getting with the right people at the right time, some gasoline to the fire.
It's so hard. It's so hard to do that in his career. You know, he's like got a tale of 2 or 3 careers, it feels like.
Yep.
So great job. Wall Stadium kid left a great impression on the sport. A couple videos Higgy's got keyed up here. We're going to look at the 54 early.
Tensions have been high the last 15 minutes in here. I hope you guys have been enjoying
They have been. I'm sorry, but the 54 goes really high.
and just plugs
in
it
the
right
stuff.
in the fence. Really dirty up there first lap, and then he goes to the tribal and 50-50 grinds it and absolutely hits the wall as hard.
He had
if
already
not-
bent a toe link, though. His toe
Yeah.
link was bent, and then when he hit that, it just...
Dude. So he cracks it right before
Clink.
he hits the fence. Okay, we're bent. But when he splits it right here, it gets loose when you split it when your car's straight, let alone... Dude, that's got to be a 50G hit, buddy. That is an absolute shunt.
Hirsch was like, all right, get it. Ooh. They're like, get it rolling. And he's like, oh, I'm okay. You know, like, and they're like, oh, my God, are you okay?
Yeah, dude, that thing is killed.
I think Ty Gibbs, like, finishes like 34th the last 5 races or whatever. He's just had a dismal end of the season. Oh, my God.
Oh, that hurts me. Oh, yeah, he stuck it right in there.
Ooh.
Oh. Dude, I can't even
Brutal.
begin to tell you how bad that hurts, guys. I had a right front tire. It's the first ever next gen race at Phoenix. We had a right front tire fall off right there. Right when he grabbed. Yeah, those are the ones where you rub a little dirt on it, take a Advil,
Yeah.
get to the bird. So glad he walked out under his own power.
11 car gets loose underneath the 5.
Really hard to get the power down out of turn 4 there.
This is early in the race.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's through the trial. So you get that left front of the apron a little bit. She gets hairy.
Our car was good down there. He could roll the bottom. And
Y'all's car was good, but everywhere.
next one.
Here we go. Stage 1 and 2 finished. And stage number 1 goes to Joey Logano.
Bro, I forgot. Coming to stage 2 finish. 3 wide middle with the 51.
Yeah, I was hoping that he was. I mean,
the 14. I'm like, Jesus, Corey.
well, I'm trying to
I mean,
stay.
you're staying on the lead lap.
Trying
yeah.
to stay on the lead lap here.
Or race for the lucky dog.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, now I'm back here.
See, we needed to put the 14 a lap down because they were next to us.
Well,
on
that's
pit
the
road.
run where so that run is when I sped. Started tail end, past 7 or 8 cars, and then that's the difference, right? I start 20th, finish 23rd or 4th first stage, and then you start tail end and you just can't pass, and that changes your entire day.
Speeding is cheating, Corey, and you can't cheat.
Can't cheat. They frown upon that. And then a team like us where we have to just keep whatever track position we have, because it's hard to get because you're just as fast as the other 15 guys you're around.
Yeah.
And then you just give up that much distance on the racetrack, and it just really killed our day.
Here we come, 4 wide restart.
I don't know what Tyler Reddick was doing here out of 2 with 4. 17 was on his left rear clearly, and he just hung up. I think he was trying to go from the outside to the left rear of the 5 here.
Let's swoop and swap.
So he puts the 17 in a bad spot. He's going to get a big run off of 2. He's trying to go to the left there.
Yeah.
But the 15 covered, but also the 17 had him freaking hooked. 17's in a terrible spot.
Oh, 17.
And,
wow, sawing that thing.
Well, if the 5 covers and the 45 still sticks in there, they all wreck. So it probably saved both those guys for sure. Surprised that wasn't about a 12-car pileup.
Oh, I didn't see that one. 47 to 41. Tire issues. Or not turn. No tires. Just, whoa.
Oh, Richard. That's what you would call that in the biz. Dang.
Yeah, a tank slapper lead if he called this
You know,
one.
I think that also
he broke something. Something's broken on that thing.
he got up in the fence and
Toe links broke.
yeah,
Or something
Bent.
back there's broke.
it's bent. Tolling is bent. You're not having a good day when that happens.
No. Well, when this happened, we were leading and we were like, get the pit road.
You get in there a little hot, so he's favoring the right side, chatters the right rear, then it's just like
It seems like when you're split to the outside, just barely off of somebody, the air it chokes off the diffuser.
It chokes off the diffuser, and it's like you lose your right rear. The old bodies, you really relied on that right side skirt being sealed up. It's exactly that feeling. When somebody's on your door, you're like, ooh, ooh, ooh. When you show right front headlight,
yes,
it's like you lose all your side force. What little this car has, you lose it all.
Yep, 24 pits. They pulled the same strategy that the 45 pulled at Homestead. They ran long, and they catch the caution at the perfect amount of time
to be able to flip it to the lead.
Now, there were people that were frustrated because he flips all the Hendrick cars stay out, and then a Hendrick backed 71 backs in the fence, but he blew a left rear tire. So those right rear tire, those conspiracy theories.
And that happened.
I'm not getting behind.
We haven't seen a lot of tire failures, but there at Phoenix, when you come out on a green flag pit stop, your air is low, like it is at a yellow flag stop, but you have pace laps to get it up to the temperature that you want to operate, or the pressure that you want to operate. When you come out on a green flag run with new tires and you run on the flat and that big transition, it messes it. It pinches the bead, and then next thing you know, you are.
That is the second week in a row.
Left side.
I'm going to fuel I don't believe the conspiracy theories, but I'm going to dump some fuel on them. That's the second week in a row that the Hendrick cars have ran long and had a Spire car wreck,
bringing the yellow out.
Bring out the caution at the perfect time for them.
I
do what you want with that information. I don't
believe that Jane Smith would have. I don't think you could pay him enough to want to driver side that thing in the fence.
But if all these people out here want to wear tin hats, I'll give them something to about other than the format.
Right. Then points.
So yeah, talk about that one.
So here's the last restart of the day. 53 to go. William Byron leading the show. Kyle Larson on the outside pole. The 12's in a tough spot. 3 wide middle here, rolling into 1. The 22 is in probably the catbird seat. So the 22 squirts out third out of 2.
If we clear the 5 here, we win the championship.
Yep.
Man, the 5 was not cool.
Wraps the bottom.
He says after the race.
Oh, big run out of 2. So is Joey on a tire advantage here?
They all pitted at the same time. The 24 is the only one that has one lap on his tires.
Holy cow. That's the first time I saw that. Joey Logano shortcutted. Slides in front of the 20, covers the 24 Alpha 2, and then it's off to the races.
Yeah, so the 5, we raced the 5. The 5 was like just choking off her air, doing all this stuff. And you see his comment after the race?
No.
Yeah, everybody was talking about having to go 100%, so I was just racing 100%.
I love that.
It's like, yeah, I can appreciate that. I hope one day the shoes on the other foot.
Yep.
Don't want to hear it when it is. So we get to second, and we're 3 seconds behind. And then Blaney just puts on another one of those, just charges to the front. And he gets to Joey with 7 to go. And right here, I'm like, getting there is going to be one thing. Passing him is going to be a whole
That's
nother.
it. Like Larry Mack, getting there was one thing, passing him's another.
Ooh, this is where I'm like, oh, we might win this thing. And then
The old savvy veteran.
let me tell you what else Joey Logano has is Coleman Presley that's coaching him from the top. And Coleman Presley has put the work in and understands where the cars need to be placed and everything that goes on. So he is coaching Joey. I need a headlight higher. I need a headlight lower. This is where he's going to go. This is what you need to do. And those two together, best friends. They're very best friends. They lived together 15 years ago before they even worked together.
Yeah.
Right? And just so happens that their friend group is some of the best racers around, and they go on and win this race together. Shout out to Blaney, dude. Making another charge to the front and making it a exciting race for all the fans.
Joey's big happy there. Big happy. Sure, Roger Penske was big happy as well. Was that his wife that was wearing the Pennzoil hat in the suite?
Yeah, Kathy, yeah. She was happy too. They're man, it's awesome. It's awesome for them. I get that if you're not on that team, it's probably frustrating, but I don't know. Figure out how to beat them.
That's going to be a tall task because there's a lot of teams and a lot of smart people that sit down every week of the year and try to do it. And there was that had them down and out.
Yeah.
During the summer months, the 22 team had not been strong. But
yeah, so
you give those guys another crack at it, buddy. They're going to get you.
Absolutely, and it's fun to be a part of. You know, real quick, I'm real proud of our team. I think a lot of people talk about a year after championship being your toughest years, right? I think you even see it with Joey, right? Every other year they're great. They win the championship. Next year they don't make the playoffs. Make the Final Four every other year. But for our team, I think there's a lot of, as cool as being the champion is, it also comes with a lot of distractions. And I'll say it again, the year after you win a championship can be some of your hardest years. Trying to get everybody to pull the rope. But our guys this year, they were unfazed. Everybody found a way to get better, stuck together, no egos, and we went to the championship race this year, and we were better as a whole team collectively than we were last year. We were comfortable, we were calm, we were confident, we executed well, we just got beat. And man, I'm really proud of the 12 team as a whole.
As you should be. That's a hell of a year, buddy.
The question of the week, we already talked about it. Would you change anything about the current playoff format? I would not. Maybe just adjust some racetracks and a rotating finale and a change of just what the racetracks are, because you can, like you said, you can kind of, that's the one thing you can kind of get in a groove of knowing what the tracks are and how to race, how to play the system. If you change the racetracks every year, it'll kind of change the strategies and all that.
Yeah, I mean the way it's set up right now plays to the 22 strengths, plays to Team Penske's strengths, and that's what we've seen. We've seen Team Penske win every single next gen championship because if you get into Phoenix is one thing, but when it's another, and you better have your guns loaded for bear if you want to try
not
to go
for
beat those
deer,
guys.
Not for pheasant.
No, I'm talking a grizzly bear.
For bear. Some guys on pit road had their stuff loaded for bear, so let's go talk about that.
Let's do it. But pit road boats and woes coming up right after this. All right, guys, we're back. We took a little breather. Got a little hot and heavy that first segment. Hope you all liked it. We might have had the biggest woe that I've ever seen in my NASCAR lifetime.
On pit road, for sure.
Holy and that didn't we've seen guys get hit by the cars. We've seen fires. We've seen all sorts of stuff this year, but we have never. Have I ever seen a pace car wipe the barrels out before?
Yeah.
What was he doing? What was he doing?
Looks like somebody that's texting and driving and misses the exit.
It looks like half the
highway.
drivers in Davis, North Carolina. That's
I'm
what
gonna
that looks
give you.
like.
I'm gonna give context for what I think. Pit road entrance is at a really weird spot at this racetrack, and you can, the way that the racetrack is laid out, I'm just giving him benefit of the doubt here because that's what I want to do as a human. He just missed where pit road entrance was because you usually turn off and you can see the restart zone and everything.
It's not like that was his first time doing it. We had been there racing all weekend.
I know.
They hadn't changed. They hadn't moved the barrels.
At that point, you just got to flick the lights back on and realize you missed it.
Yeah.
Tensions are, dude, it's championship day. Tensions are high for everybody.
Even the pace car driver make mistakes. I can't believe they let the same guy get back in the car and go out.
I can't believe that the TV showed. You can get a good discount on that one.
That's right.
TV
that thing's got the
showed,
Darlington stripe on it. Scholes is like, go breaking this thing.
And then TV shows.
I still get when I ripped the right side mirror off the Camaro at the LA Coliseum this year.
I watched that happen.
I was giving rides. I forgot some local news reporter. And the way those front straightaways are, so I have no room to talk. The way the front straightaway was rounded there, you get to the start-finish line and you're over. Yeah, you're kind of looking. Yeah, you got a little this, and you start looking in the corner. Next thing you know, it's like, whack! I'm like, oh, and wipe the right side window right off.
Well, to your defense,
I'm glad there wasn't any live television there.
Most race cars don't have mirrors to hang off the side of them.
That's right.
Hey, that's how close you get in these things. Margins there are small.
Yeah, that's right. I know where that 6 inches is out there, but you stick a mirror over there and it's gone.
Yep.
Hang on, I'm not done talking about the pace car yet. So what ended up happening? So they obviously, they red flagged it.
Yeah, because they had to clean up the barrels. The worst is on TV during the broadcast. They show that, and then they show Michael Jordan laughing. Like he was just like, ha 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 ha. Like I was like, dang, broadcast ain't helping at all.
No,
but hey, it's
the sport
is what it is.
Continues to deliver things you have never seen in your entire life on any given weekend. That's why you have to tune in. You never know what's going to happen.
Stakes are high for everybody during a championship race, even the pace car driver.
I wonder who does that ass chewing. Is that like a O'Donnell ass chewing, I wonder?
I don't know.
Like, is there like a competition meeting for the pace car driver, like looking at stats, like, well, you rolled 0.3 miles an hour too fast. You need to hold the 35 miles an hour.
Good news is pace car driver led a lot of laps this year.
That's right.
So,
great year for those guys.
Great year for the pace car driver.
Here we go.
Tough ending, but a good year.
Here, my woe.
Got to stand next to the last section.
So I had someone on my right recorder panel. Here, the 41 was on my right recorder, so I wasn't able to get to the right side wall. So I gave up a light or two, anticipating.
I was 4. I wasn't even pushing lights there.
Yeah, 10-4.
Is that a lie? Are you trying to build a case here?
No.
Is that a white lie?
No. I gave up 2 lights there. In the radius of the corner, but just however shorter the radius of the corner was enough to pop us, and then that just started the derailment of our day.
Dude, before we get into Logano, there was do you have that near miss on here with the 7 car? Okay, go ahead and play it. They have a tough first stop here. So we're moving on to woes with the 22. It's like Graham couldn't get his grip on the right front tire, and it's so important to grab that and go. And just a little miscue like that, man, they lose 4 or 5 spots, give up the lead on the first stop of the day. This one is the scary one. This is a tough angle of it. That ain't even it. I hope you have a better angle of it. The 7 car loses like their left front tire, and the guy's out there getting it. Roll it back a little bit, guys. So they lose their wheel. So the 7's waiting. Who's the carrier on the 7? Look, he's out there getting it, and that's right on the path of where the 22 is going, and the 7 can't leave. So Stallings is out there grabbing that tire.
Oh, no.
Yes. From the helmet cameras, it's a mess.
Under green? Yeah. I guess if you're going to have that happen, that you'd rather it happen under green flag conditions because you give up less spots. You certainly give up time, but you don't give up as many spots as you would.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, so you give up time. So then here we see Graham, and there's Pam, red hair. That's Pam. She's our PT. Pam, let me just talk about Pam real quick.
Shout out, Pam.
Is somebody that, I think we talk a lot about racing, and you don't see all the people that make it go. Pam is the person, like last year when I had appendix surgery, I worked out with Pam for 5 weeks to get me ready to go back to the race. Like when you're at your lowest point, you get hurt, Pam is the one that gets you fixed up.
Ortho Carolina.
Ortho Carolina. Not only us, but like when Harper broke her arm, right? My first call's Pam.
Yep.
You know, she is somebody that helps countless people in the sport, and that, you know, you rely on almost like you would your doctor, right? She's kind of the person at the track that when stuff's going on,
you call Pam.
Not only does she, you know, stretch you before the race or whatever, she's one of the backbones of for a lot of people that nobody really sees in the spotlight.
And also can hold her own with the fellas too. She's awesome.
She's been in the sport a long time. You can tell she's tough as nails. That being said, Graham they're saying he gets overheated. It sounds like he got hot, and he had to come out of the race. Pam makes the decision. They make the decision together, come out of the race. Leads us to the absolute dog of the week, dog of the year. Not only is he one of my favorite human beings ever, he is a great picker guy, great jackman, better person, one of the best people. He is
getting his spotlight on him here.
Yeah, I talk about the culture at Penske.
Yep.
And how great the culture is, especially in our pit department. Pat Gray is one of the guys that makes the culture better. He's infectious to be around. Jersey guy.
Yeah.
Monmouth University. Pat was my teammate for a long time. We won Coke 600 together, won Daytona 500 together. Done a lot of growing, a lot of building. He's on the 2 car. But it just goes to show you that, man, it is so hard to go into that championship race, to have the anxiety, to go through the week of practice, to get ready for it, and to execute at that level. He goes from being in the middle of a pit stop with the 2 car to down there at the 22, hey, go win the championship.
Yeah.
Now.
Don't mess this up.
Need you. Steps in. On the last stop of the day, the money stop, us and them have the same exact stop time.
Which was what?
9:19. Fastest stop of the most important sequence of pit stops for the season, the money stop of the championship race. When you get thrust into that position, man, it is so hard. That is like your quarterback. I keep going back to that. That's like your quarterback getting hurt on the 2-minute drill of the Super Bowl.
Call up Joe Flacco.
Because, yeah, and you're going to say, well, he's just a pit crew guy. He's not the quarterback. The driver, the crew chief's quarterback. When you're a jackman, there is no job. I will say this to you right now. That jackman can get in your race car and get it around the track. You ain't getting his jack up and putting the tires on the car. There is no job harder at the racetrack than being a jackman of the race car.
More physically demanding.
It's physically demanding, and then you get to his level where you have to be better than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So not only is it physically demanding to do, yes, you have to be physically capable of it to do the job.
Yeah.
But then to do it faster and better than everybody else, it is very demanding. Not only are you doing that, you're also the whole stop and when it's done depends on you when you drop that jack,
right,
if the wheels are tight or not. So, yes, you have to be a physical specimen. You have to be fast, but you also have to have the wits capacity and the mental capacity to know when that car's done. You're the one that calls when the pit stop's done. So, for him to come down there, we talk a lot about timing. And Pat Gray is a guy that could be on any car that wins any day of the week. Right, and the 2 car is a great team, a great car, and Austin's still early in his career, much like we saw with Blaney, right? Hasn't been to the point where he's won races, but he hasn't won a ton of races yet, and he hasn't competed for Cup championships yet. Now, Pat Gray's won Xfinity championships with me, and I was just really happy that he got that opportunity and was able to do that, and show the depth of our pit department and show just what it takes to be a true professional and just step in there. And he handled himself with class, and he represented us well. That all being said, thoughts and prayers to Graham Stoddard and everybody involved in that whole situation. But, man.
Who were the other dogs on that 22 pit crew that won championship?
Okay, Jeremy Ogles, front tire carrier. He's an absolute stud, a good friend of ours. Jake Seminary, I think that's his 3rd or 4th championship. If you watch any pit stops from back in the day with Kyle Busch, he was the blue M&M changing rear tires on that car. They all had different M&M colors. We narrowed that down on the plane yesterday. Nick Hensley, his 3rd championship gassing. And Joe Dilley, 21 years old, 22 years old, however old he is now. His dad, longtime Penske employee. He came in and has been just a great fit, man, to do this early in his career and this young in his life is awesome. This is his first full-time year on the car, and so work with him and watch him grow and get put in that position and handle it. I'm just so happy for them guys. Like, yes, I'm bummed we lost because I wanted another ring. I want another trophy, but I'm so happy for my teammates and what they were able to do.
Dogs, championship dogs.
Absolute dogs.
Congrats to that 22 team and Pat Gray for jumping in that thing and just keeping it going without a hitch.
Yep.
Attaboy.
Yep.
Attaboy.
Attababy. Attaboy. Moving on,
something in our feelings a little bit. A little SHR send off. Seems to be a little tailgate speech from the boss himself.
Saw that. I stopped down there and talked to those guys. I spent a lot of my formative years, three of my years as a young man there, and did a lot of growing there. And I feel like that's the place where I learned how to win at this level. Being around guys like.
What'd you learn?
Just what it takes, right? And the confidence. And I don't really have a word for it, but there's certain people that know what it takes to win at this level, and that have the stones,
gumption.
They have the stones to do it, right? It's a lot of it's inside of you, what it takes, and the preparation. And those guys, man, when I got to Stuart Haas in 2011, it's a lot different than it is now. It was a lot different. It was the who's who of Hendrick guys with Darian Grubb, Jeff Mendering.
And DEI guys.
And then the other side of the shop, the DEI guys with Tony and Two Beer and the old man Tony Gibson. And that was all the 8-car Budweiser guys, right? So you had like all the 8-car Budweiser guys and then all like the 24 Rainbow Warrior Hendrick guys on the other side that all kind of left and ended up at this gritty race team with two hard-ass drivers from Indiana. Yep. Something to prove. And you go there and win the championship, man. It was a special, special, special place to work. And, through the years it's changed. We brought on Danica, and it just grows and changes, and Xfinity cars and an F1 team, and nothing lasts forever, right? We couldn't, like I say it a lot, there was times in this sport where you would never believe that Junior Johnson wouldn't have a team. Yep. There was times in the sport where you wouldn't believe David Pearson would be around. There was times in the sport where you wouldn't believe Cale Yarborough would be around. And you appreciate that. And I've learned to appreciate the times that they are there because it doesn't last forever. And that's why I appreciate Stuart Haas, what happened, who Tony was. Tony's going to have no involvement in the sport anymore. He's done. He's be NHRA racing. So he left a big mark on the sport, man, and a lot of great people there that won a lot of races.
A lot of trophies in that trophy case. For sure. And a lot of great people still working and going to be involved in the sport, too. So their legacy will live on through that grittiness and gumption, and the stones are going to be dispersed throughout the garage. You see Chase Briscoe going to the 19 car next year. We wish him well, friend of the show, as well as Noah Gragson going to Front Row Motorsports, Josh Berry going to the 21 car.
Cole Custer going to move up.
The Colonel driving the Haas factory car. They're going to retain one charter and run it for him. And Ryan Preece.
Oh, we can't say where he's going. We'll let them make that.
Well, Brad Moran already told everybody, so
did he?
Yeah.
Well, good for them.
That'll be a good deal for Ryan too, being in that. So yeah, all those guys have deservingly landed on their feet. And also Stuart Haas goes out as an Xfinity Series winner in Riley Herbst. He did a great job, actually.
Great job.
Didn't even talk about him. Like, oh yeah, Riley's leading most of the race, and he drove back to the lead, past the champion on the last corner.
He's like, I would have wrecked Allgaier to win the race. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like
and Allgaier knew that, and he gave him the bottom. That was a veteran move, because if he would have chopped him, Riley would have just backed him right in the fence, and I wouldn't have been out of. Allgaier was my pick, but I'd have been like, oh yeah.
Well, you heard Eddie Hunt. Just let him go. We don't need it. Just let him go. Don't worry about him. Just let him go.
So congrats to Justin. I was pumped up to see that. And it's not often you just see like that pure, raw emotion shown out of him. He's been trying to do it for a long time.
Yeah, I got us off on a tangent earlier when we were talking about Justin. But to be able to come back, battle back, Jim Pullman to keep the troops rallied. Pit stall 1, man, they made a lot of changes to pit stall 1 this week since we're still in boats and woes. They moved the line. It wasn't as advantageous as it used to be. We saw him have real big trouble launching there, so that's going to be everybody's going to study the film of the 7 and the 24 in their pit boxes this week, and maybe have a different plan, almost like when we go to Vegas and you don't, pit stall one's a trap. Might see that become a thing at Phoenix as well. But yeah, shout out to them. And then Dale Jr. with that flag looking like Braveheart. Just
but they'll never take our freedom.
So yeah, that
gosh, I just love it when Dale Jr.'s on the broadcast. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
Fire me up. What else we got? We got a lot of Penny for your thoughts questions. I think some of them probably pertain to just end of the year. First one from Dan K. Diecast. Favorite on-track moments from the season? I guess we can do overarching questions for the year, but top 5 in Daytona 500 was nice. Started off the year P4. That was a great payday as well. And that was about it. That was about the highlight of the year. It went all downhill since then. We had some great runs with the 7. Had a couple bad runs, flipped twice. That sucked real bad.
Flipping over,
got
going
fired,
in a straight line.
got traded, had some good runs, couple top 15s with that car, had some mechanical failures. But I was thinking about this. If I was like scripting a movie of how to have the worst possible season of your career, I think I'd have probably left a couple things out even from what happened to me this year. So that's about how my year's been.
Great podcast year though.
Over 1.5 million downloads. You guys are killing it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. YouTube's been blowing up, and just when you guys scream out of stacking pennies at the racetrack makes us feel all warm and fuzzy.
A lot of pictures this week. I'd say my favorite. I was thinking about this. There's a couple. I think that to really enjoy the sport and what we do for a living, what you see at the racetrack is tip of the iceberg. So I was really proud of the hard conversations that my team had and the growth that we got better and how the 12 team reacted. I'd say for me, the most nervous I'd been all year, and it didn't end with a storybook ending, but Coke 600, a wheel falls off, right front falls, I'll have a bad stop, in a bad stop, right front lug nut's not tight, falls off, takes us out of the race. Defending Coke 600 champions. First time that's ever happened to me in my career. First time I've ever taken my car out of the race, ever. And I had never had a tougher week or a harder, just harder range of emotions.
There's like this, it feels like, and I'm assuming we've felt similar at this. I felt this way several times this year, but you could tell. It's like a 50-pound dumbbells in your gut.
Yes, all week long.
Yeah.
Go back to Worldwide Technology Speedway in St. Louis the next week. Crush the day. Put ourselves in contention to win. We run out of gas on the last lap. But that is the grown-ass that I love in this sport. Those are the moments those are the watershed moments where you decide
how bad you want it.
Am I going to let, I think Teddy Atlas says it, right? Fear, right? Because it's fear is what you have in you. That's what's burning in your belly after you go there.
Yeah.
And fear, when you contain it, and cook your food, can heat your house. When you don't contain it, it can destroy everything, burn down your house, burn down the woods. But so it's how you take that and bottle it up, and that's what when you're done, that's what your legacy becomes. And that was probably my favorite part of the year, obviously. And for that point, coming off a Homestead, losing the way we did, and then going and winning Martinsville, and learning more about Blaney and our team that week. Obviously, we didn't win the championship, but just seeing the maturity and the growth, and being a better man because of the people who I was around. Next one.
Any big off-season plans?
What do you got, buddy? Where are you going?
We're going to go to Charleston this coming week. I'm excited about that. Just unplug a little bit and spend a couple nights at some bougie hotel that Kelly wanted to stay at. Building a tree house behind in the little woods behind my house. Super pumped up about that.
Treehouse Masters.
Yeah, it's like a legit one, like 10 feet off the ground, 15 by 15. I'll probably run some like string lights to it. So Kelly calls me on Thursday when I flew out to Phoenix. Amazon delivery guy drops a box off, like a big box, and she's like, "What is this?" She unboxes. It's a 125-foot zipline kit. You're not putting our kid on a 125-foot zipline. I said, "Honey, that's not for the kids. That's for me."
Yeah,
I want a zip line in me and you. We're gonna have a couple beers and just be zip line in my backyard.
The kids aren't. It's the They have a playroom.
They have a playroom.
The treehouse is for us when we go over there. We're going up
Yes.
there, pulling the ladder up, and then the wives can't come to us.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
That's
Sorry, we don't have a ladder.
if you catch me at the end of that zip line. How about that?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Off
Racing turkey
indoor
derby.
season.
Yeah, racing. We got a busy off season. Gonna race turkey derby. Go up there, practice a couple times. So I'm heading to Jersey this week. And then racing modified at turkey derby with my buddy Scott Davidson and my friend Justin Gumley. And then I'll race Fort Rumble in Fort Wayne. And then I'll run my midget in the indoor series in January. Gonna go a couple weddings. And just hang out, man. I'm gonna coach my kids' basketball team, as if I don't have enough stuff going on. So yeah, I'm excited for some time off, but it's not really time off. We always try to flood it.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like your days aren't structured in the off season, so you almost feel more busy. During the week, you're structured.
You know what some of my favorite things to do in the off season are is come to the seat shop here and build stuff
Random
that I need.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have some time to do that for myself as well.
Next one from John Shetchi 8.
On the opening, there's the line that says, "That tastes like gasoline, rubber, and victory." That somebody may or may not have tattooed on their arm. They like to show that much. I was actually talking about a Martinsville hot dog. That's exactly right.
To Jonathan Merriman and Chuck Bush.
That's what it was, and I believe Matt Donor.
Okay, Matthew Dillon. Yep. So for long-time listeners of the show, that is a.
I like this question from Alex McCullough. How does off-season change regarding workouts and conditioning? You have to be I have to really be more intentional about what I eat, because I'm not going to be burning 4,500 calories on a Sunday every week, because I can eat relatively what I want to eat any given day right now. And I know that I'm going to burn some calories, and I got my 6 a.m. deal a couple days a week that's enough to sustain me and not get fat. I get ice cream. But now in the off season, I'm not burning that amount of calories on Sunday, so I can't eat like an absolute garbage disposal like I usually do during the week. So I'll just tighten up my diet a little bit, burn a little less calories. But I usually go towards the end of the year, your body's starting to get a little tired. I do more cardio stuff, a little bit less high impact weight training. But in the off season, I will go heavy barbell stuff, try to put a little bit of muscle mass on to start the season. 6 or 7 pounds of muscle heavy, and then you kind of lose that over the course of the year and just maintain it.
Yeah, I do about the same. To change tires, I have to be about 180 pounds, have mass to be able to just do that.
Ass moves mass.
And then when I race in the indoors, you have to get that, I have to eat a lot of calories and kind of hold some more fat. And then
Creatine. You do creatine?
Yeah, I have been doing more and more creatine. I've been doing a lot of brain function stuff, because I think that changing tires is just high level decision making. So the clear mind.
What's the decision? You just have one nut, you got to take it off, put it back on. How many decisions
body.
you got to make?
There's a lot more decisions than that. I mean, you just have to get around the track. You're making the same lap every time. How hard is it, Corey? You're literally just turning left.
I don't know. Once I figure that out, I'll let you know.
But yes, same thing. I'll eat a lot less because I don't have to. You don't have the load on your nervous system and your posterior chain that you do. So I'll eat a lot less, and my workouts will be heavier because I can not have to worry about being sore for Sunday.
One more. JD Thomas 37. What's been the most difficult part of the season? We talked about what the best part of the season was. You talked about your most difficult part, getting over that 600 tire falling off. My most difficult part of this season, it was if you sum it up as a whole, right? There's been so many emotions, and there's been so much disappointment. And there's been like this fog of like self-doubt, and when the expectations you have for yourself and what you think that you're capable of, and you don't feel like you're in the situation with the right people to accomplish that, really is a battle. And it has been a battle, but just staying true to knowing what I'm capable of doing and staying in the word, because it's been a grind, man. And I put a video up on Instagram. I just had this thought, everybody puts up like the obligatory, oh, thanks fans and sponsors and, the sport's been a great year, yada, yada. Everybody sees say stuff and is going to slide by it. But I had this thought that just kept coming back to my mind of like, I saw Allgaier's interview, and it's been a common theme over the last several weeks. Everybody, first thing they say, oh, man, God's so good. God's so good. Yeah, hell yeah, he's good. You made a lot of money, you won a race. There is a lot of people in the trenches that don't hear it, but dude, God is so freaking good, man, because it's so weird. And you said it earlier. What you see on national broadcast is the tip of the iceberg for what your life is. I have so much good stuff going on underneath the surface of my marriage, of my kids, of my health and friends and opportunities in my life that are out before me, whether it's behind the wheel or not. Like, it's hard to look at your career and be content with where it's at, because I feel by a lot of metrics I've been successful, but compared to Joe Logano, not very much. Compared to, the guy that races at Hickory that's trying to get to where I'm at, it's pretty successful.
Well, when you compare yourself to the top 1% of the 1%, then that's what it is.
Like, that's what you feel like. You feel like inadequate.
A 3-time champion. There's only been 10.
Right.
But like, the gift and the curse of us is he's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
So it's like, if but that's...
But then everything else, right, it looks like on national television for 20 weeks out of the year, it's been a dumpster fire. And then the other side of it's been great. This show's freaking awesome. I love the people I'm doing it with. I love talking about the sport. And I love the interaction with the fans that we get through it. And I'm in a little bit of like a familiar feeling of like being uncomfortable, which I like. Because I feel like that little bit of pressure of figuring out what's next. And I have so many cool opportunities behind the wheel, but also potentially not behind the wheel as well, to take into consideration and look at what the next chapter of life is. And I've also thought about like my life as a book, where this chapter kind of sucked, but the end of the book's not done. Like, the cover's not on the next page. So you just legitimately flip this chapter and you start reading the page of the next one and fire it up. So
that's your biggest growing times, right? Is the times where you don't really know. I think a man that doesn't have that has doesn't have a clear-cut path, has a lot of options, and could be a dangerous man to get with the right circumstances.
Yeah.
Because that's when things arise, right? And that's when things happen that you didn't even think were possible.
That's right. Smooth seas never made for a skilled sailor.
Nope.
I read that on a Snapple cap. Do they even have sayings on Snapple caps anymore? I haven't had a Snapple.
I don't
in
think
10
Snapples
years.
have caps like that anymore. I think they're plastic bottles. They've ruined everything cool.
I know. What else we got? Anything grind your gears?
No, I think I pretty much covered that, man. Don't on the sport, because you don't like the winner. That is low-hanging fruit.
Yep.
Get to the bottom.
Don't do that.
Champion the guys that figure out how to win. Respect the game, and that's it, man. And have a great off season, and everybody enjoy their holidays, and hope come back for more, and hopefully we have broadened your NASCAR horizons. Hopefully when you watch this, I think the goal is, yes, we're going to bull about racing anyway, so we might as well get paid for it.
That's right.
But I think that the goal in here is to, when you turn on the race next week or next year or today, whenever you listen to this, you understand it a little bit more, and you see the pictures paint a little bit more for you, and you know what's going on pit road, or you understand what you see when a driver makes a mistake or does something well. It just adds depth to your viewership pleasure. That's why we do this. We want you guys to understand the sport more. We want you to enhance the love of your sport through our love of the sport. That's why we're here.
Because the more you know about our sport, the more you're going to love it, whether you're a casual fan or you're a purist. And I feel like we can touch and explain everything from one side of the spectrum to the other. So we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in this year. It's been a hell of a ride, whether it's been on YouTube or SiriusXM Radio or wherever you find your podcasts. We're going to keep doing it until they let us not to, until they ask us to stop talking about it. So stay tuned. We're going to keep stacking pennies, and I hope you guys too. Have happy holidays. Love on your kids. Love on your buddies. Be a light in your community. Keep stacking pennies. Do the small details right. And on our closing list is just give us 5 stars. Like us, download us, share, rate, review us, and do whatever you want to. But keep stacking pennies. And, hey, y'all have a great offseason. Holla at you in Daytona. Peace.